Hello there and welcome to this gather-round edition of the Sunday Footy Show. For the fourth year in a row, we're bringing it to you live from the banks of the River Torrens, right across the river from Adelaide Oval. All the boys are here, including Damo, who I must say is about to be exposed for the man that he is with hidden video on What Caught My Eye. Rory, who earlier in the week anointed himself on radio as Mr. Adelaide. The Premier intervened. At last count, Rory's down to about 67 in the pecking order. Matthew Lloyd has just flown in and then he'll fly out. He's like an oil rig worker. And as we know with Llordo, it's all about the rig. Then there's Nath. Well, what's been the biggest shock this gather round? Essendon beating Melbourne? Or Nathan stringing two words together after a very long lunch on Friday? So much to digest, like Nathan's long lunch. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. Stay with us.
Shoves off his opponent and then drills the goal. Can he do it again? My word, he can! Oh, what a pass! Again! Zach Merritt! Ridiculous! Brilliant goal! Get him! That's what you train for.
Yes, it is great to have your company on this Sunday morning, and we love being here in Adelaide, and thank you to everyone for coming down. And of course, at home, we've got a chock-a-block 2 hours for you. And let's give a formal welcome now to our panel, headed up by Damian Barrett.
Hello, TJ. We're always learning in this TV paper, aren't we? You've always taught us to learn from your mistakes, and
Yep.
We've learned something on the Sunday Footy Show this week, and we're going to reveal all in What Caught My Eye.
Does it pertain to anyone here?
No.
Anyone who used to be?
Maybe.
Here he is,
There we
Mr.
go.
Adelaide.
You know when you say something and then you immediately regret it, TJ?
Oh, yeah, I do, actually.
I didn't regret what I said at all, actually. So I gave you guys endless ammo for the rest of the year, so you're welcome.
And that was said on radio, was it?
I might have slipped up on radio, yeah. I
Slipped
was
up.
trying to be funny again. And it didn't work, yeah.
No, leave that to Llordo, the king of comedy. How are you, mate?
TJ, great to be here, and maybe the Bombers should move to Adelaide. How well did they play? How good were the Bombers yesterday? First win since last year, I think Dreamtime at the G last year, and absolutely smashed the Demons by 45 points. But Sydney and Hawthorn are flying as well, so they're the challenge, I think, for the Brisbane Lions.
Absolutely. And how are you going, little man?
Very good. Went and saw Hawthorn, the Bulldogs, last night. Couldn't have been more impressed with Hawthorn. So they've beaten Sydney, they've beaten Geelong, and now they've beaten the Western Bulldogs. There was a bit of a worry about them in the pre-season, but they are flying at the moment.
I just want a little bit of clarification before we get into the results. This is the production manual that is issued to all the production crew here for the Sunday Footy Show. And on the front there, I don't know why, it's got local hospital details and also local police. So I'm not entirely sure what that's for. But in the contents, page 15, that one will pertain to you.
Payment, it says.
Exactly. There's the TV incident report form in case something goes wrong. And on page 8, I want to take you to page 8 here.
Where you
This
going
is
with
the travel details.
Yeah.
This is the travel details. So all the cast and crew, for the most part, are shoved into buses, except for Matthew Lloyd. Chauffeur transfer. Look at that, will you?
No way.
One person in one car. Chauffeur transfer.
And no, it was even funnier that the chauffeur's about to arrive at the end of the show. Damo's coming with me, and I heard you whinging, saying, no one's picking me up.
No.
And I said, TJ, okay, you can jump in the back with us. You know?
Everyone was looked after. But also, what about the discussion in our meeting this morning, which is normally taken up with football, with him about what pants he's going to wear today? How long did that go for?
Well, you got to look good. You got to feel good. That means you play good. That was the whole Trent Crowe theory back in the day. So I'm feeling good. This is going to be a great show.
It is. We've got Dermot and Billy will be along a little later on. They're based at Norwood at the moment, where there's going to be a game.
Food and Wine Festival, yeah, there's a game there later on, but there's a Food and Wine Festival there. Norwood has come to life with games there. It's incredible.
Riley Thilthorpe and Charlie Dixon will be along also. We've got Andrew Dillon, the boss of the AFL. A bloke called Peter Malinauskas, I think. He's very popular over here, isn't he? Yeah.
Landslide win a couple of weeks ago.
Well, you're a politician in the waiting, aren't you?
Yeah. No.
You know about
Had a couple of coffees here and there. I take a big interest in politics as you get older.
Which side?
Very right-leaning.
We've been hurried along here too.
Geez, it's a subtle way of saying move it along.
TJ, 6 of the 9 matches completed for the gather round. We had a very low-scoring game between the Dockers and the Pies, and we saw Essendon winning after a long drought of losses, and the Hawthorn Footy Club, as Browny alluded to, dismantled Western Bulldogs last night.
So here's the ladder. Sydney on top. Look at that percentage. Fremantle, Hawthorn and the Western Bulldogs. Gold Coast Suns, they've dropped a couple. Adelaide round out. It is a top 10 now, as you can see. Port Adelaide play tonight. Collingwood all the way down to the Tigers, who play the Giants today, yet to get a win.
Okay, so some big matches to come, that's for sure, and we'll talk about that as well. But what about the Bombers? I tell you what, Hindley Street was just heaving yesterday afternoon when Bomber fans just painted the town red and black.
Well, it was a 45-point win, TJ, a very commanding win against the Melbourne Footy Club, and it came 323 days after their last victory, that being a Dreamtime game in 2025 against Richmond, being the last time they'd won. There were 17 consecutive losses before that moment that coach Brad Scott and players could soak up and celebrate. And Llordo, it came in dramatic fashion in a way that was very much in contrast to what they had been dishing up all of 2026 and the back half of 2025.
Oh, it's what you play football for, those moments, that 15 to 20 minutes after a game when you've won on the road. I know it's a neutral venue against Melbourne, but when you've won on the road, it was such a good win. You could see the confidence was growing as the game wore on, and they actually just every time they went forward, they looked like scoring. And well done to Brad Scott, because he's been under siege as a coach, and I've had my criticisms on some of his moves and the way they've played the game. They haven't been able to defend, but to send Peter Wright in there, so Blackiston has been sort of overwhelmed by a lot of ruckman, but to send Peter Wright in to take on Max Gawn, I thought he was sensational. They won the clearances 40-32, which is normally a strength of Melbourne, and you see McGrath there. Yeah, I thought Pickett was very good still, but I thought the move of to send your captain in, Brownie, give him more responsibility, I thought that was also an influential move, and bringing Sardis in, who has been crashing the door down here, 28 touches as well.
He was really good, wasn't he? He looked a more assured player than what he is. And it was a really good battle with Pickett, obviously, with McGrath. And I thought they evened it out, but Pickett didn't get the easy possessions that he's been getting and the nice entries inside forward 50. So it was a good move.
Yeah, and the pressure. So every side, doesn't matter what level of football it's at, you have to have extreme pressure. And I thought the Bombers' pressure, they went 18 points down, and you thought, here we go, it's going to be another loss, Rory, but they cranked it up.
We hadn't seen this, have we? This type of pressure. They actually wanted to defend, and Melbourne didn't. Melbourne didn't rock up ready to defend and handle this type of pressure. They were cleaner. They got to contest quicker than Melbourne did. They outnumbered them, and their ball movement as well was completely different to what we had seen. There was a far more patient build-up than what we've seen in the past.
So they've been conceding 150 marks, which is nearly world record pace for opposition just moving the ball. They flipped the script here, and they had 139 marks yesterday to the Demons 78. So they planned really, really well. Got Melbourne, and Melbourne rolled over in the end. They were very disappointing, but well done to the Bombers.
Really easy to get ahead of yourself in AFL footy. I'm not going to say Melbourne got ahead of themselves. There's been a lot of talk about this rejuvenated Melbourne, but I felt like they defended like they were the better side yesterday, and they came out to play like they were just going to beat Essendon. This is just one clip when Zach Merritt kicked his goal, and you have a look at Caleb Windsor, who trails in Zach Merritt, who's a wonderful player, but just lets him go. So close to goal there. And this is only one thing I've picked out. This happened a fair bit. The clearances after half-time was an absolute smashing. And you see the back side of this, when you have a look at that, just allows him to go. No urgency at all. This is a genuine star of the competition. I thought Melbourne played a little bit like that most of the day.
One, you cover his left foot, don't you? And two, when you're in D50, you've got to put body on and get goal side as well. Keep them to the middle of the ground.
Just when we were pumping up the Western Bulldogs as premiership favourites, along come Hawthorn and say, just hold on.
They did, and there's been a fair bit made of Hawthorn midfield. There's been a fair bit of commentary around it, but I thought they were incredibly dominant. You got Reeves in the ruck, Meek in the ruck, who gave him first use. They were unbelievable.
Do they take that combo in every game this year, Rory? Or is it horses for courses?
No, off the back of this, they completely outscored Western Bulldogs. Their forward 50 stuff we'll touch on a bit later, but they kicked 6 goals from forward 50 stoppages, and they were completely dominant. I think they had a record almost of hit-outs to advantage.
Lost without Tim English, weren't they? Absolutely lost. So they've lost him for 3 3 weeks, and it changed the whole game. Let's be honest. If Tim English was there, it would have been a much, much different game. But they had a first game at Browny.
I wasn't convinced how they used the first gamer. So Lewis Emmett comes in. There's only 3 hit-outs to advantage for the Western Bulldogs, but he didn't start in the centre of the ground. So Rory Lobb came in, and then Rory Lobb would go back, and then they weren't identifying themselves as the ruckman. There were a couple of free kicks picked out. I just thought it was too much for a first gamer to run that and not be in the ruck and then go in. It looked like a mess, and the person that benefited from that was John Newcombe, who had 14 14 clearances, which is a career high for him, and he was just brilliant. He was tough inside. Like, he got a lot of ball where, like that, he burst through tackles and then got it out on the other side. Very easy to get a handball underneath the pack and spit it out, but he was the one that was getting it and then making it onto the outside. So this was a brilliant game by John Newcombe.
Yeah, Meek and Reeves are so fit. Like, they are so fit. They're rock hard. I know. It's a real weapon. 5 men on the bench now. It's becoming a real weapon for Sam Mitchell with those two. Barras and Battle, they continue to form. Is it the best 1-2 punch in the competition with how they work together? Battle took down Norton. I just thought some of his one-on-ones was sensational. Barras ran Darcy under the ball.
He had to come back after quarter time, though. I thought Darcy outpointed him early, but he really dug in after quarter time and was very good.
It's rare you go a whole game without a contested mark, and they kept the Dogs to 0 contested marks, especially with those big boys up front. That's a huge effort from those two.
And Damo, the night only got dirtier for the Western Bulldogs.
Well, it did, TJ. And you're referring to the latest injury of Ed Richards, who sustained an ankle injury, and one that we don't yet know as we talk on this Sunday morning as to how serious it is going to be. So that's the incident there. And Rory, I'll get you to talk to it in a moment. He obviously went into the game, TJ, having miraculously, to use his coach Luke Beveridge's words during the week, recovered from an incident on his knee the previous week, which saw him a late withdrawal in a game against Essendon. So you can see the drama around this moment and the fact that they did speak post-match that it is an ankle issue. We just don't know what it is at this stage.
Well, for me, like, that mechanism's familiar, and I've done one in the past. It's syndesmosis, and it's where you roll over the front of your ankle, and it gets that ligament in between your bones. So I don't know exactly what it is, but if it is that's normally a 6 to 8, but if surgery, 10-week injury.
And they had their first loss of the season last night, and their next 3 matches now pose as problems without Tim English, as Llordo's already alluded to, and the unknown around Ed Richards. Their matches on paper that are going to present as genuine problems for them. Geelong, Sydney and the Dockers. They've all got premiership aspirations in 2026.
All right, the Sydney Swans got the job done over the Suns, and the Swans are really, really making a statement so far this season. And a couple of usual suspects getting, sort of leading the way.
It was, and you say a couple of usual suspects, but they still have to go out and do it. I'm talking about Heaney and Warner, who are just about, you talk about the best 1-2 punch in the defence. These two are the best 1-2 forward of centre players in the competition as a duo. There's kicked 16 goals between them so far this season. Heaney has 33 yesterday, but it's the explosiveness that you don't know whether to go with them through the middle and then they roll over at half forward. But when you've got these two players, you are always a chance to win a premiership. Probably two of the best in the business right now, and both smooth, both clean. They don't fumble, they don't miss. Have a look at that. In a day where it was really hard to kick with wind, that man did it quite comfortably.
I love your point on the goals, Browny. It's a great one because some midfielders go through a whole season kicking a goal, 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, and some of our best players in the game get that, so I won't name them right here and now, but there's a lot who just do not kick a goal. 16 between them is huge. Are they the best in it to challenge Brisbane? So we all know that Brisbane will be thereabouts. Their talent is stacked. They're still hungry. They've still got youth in Ashcrofts and Fletchers and Baileys and Lomans. They're everywhere. But are Sydney the biggest threat now with the way they move the ball, their running power to match? Not many teams can match what Brisbane do, but Sydney seem to have all the tools.
Sydney can. I think Hawthorn have now got in front of them for me. We touched on the reasons why. In front of Sydney, yep. And they dismantled Sydney the other week by putting enough pressure on them. So.
And Lloyd, to your point, it's not the worst thing that Warner's gone back into the middle, is it? It's only happened on the back of Goulden being unavailable because they were going to experiment with him as a forward, but I think they look sharper with him in the middle.
Llordo, you mentioned the Brisbane Lions. They were up against North Melbourne at the Barossa, and I mean, North Melbourne sort of really took it up to them for the best part of this game, but in the end, their brilliance just won out.
Yeah, it's what Brisbane did to St Kilda in the last quarter a couple of weeks ago. They did it against North Melbourne again yesterday. They're just starting to do that, and they've got their own injury concerns too. Now, this guy had played 70 straight games. Dane Zorko, former captain and 5-time best and fairest winner and multiple Australian, and he's going to miss some weeks with another calf injury. It was a problem he had, Browny, back in 2022 and 23 when he was dealing with regular calf injuries and Achilles and plantar fasciitis. So that's the first time time he's been injured seriously in that soft tissue sense since that time. So it's a bit of a problem. And also, Jared Berry will be under match review office scrutiny for this contact on Dillon Stevens. It's crude. Stevens got up straight away, took the kick. That will all be factored in, but it's crude, and it will be something that Michael Christian looks at.
It would have been 50 metres at least.
Yeah, at least.
Shouldn't it,
It was a loss for North Melbourne, but one of their better losses in a long time. I thought they were right in it up their eyeballs in this game. A couple of mistakes. Don't shake your head.
No,
Dave.
I will shake my head, Brownie, because they're at the stage of their growth now where they shouldn't be comforted by good losses.
They made some mistakes with Sheasel and Curtis turning it over, turns into goals, and then McCurch had the advantage. Should have kicked it. They should have put more pressure on Brisbane. But it wasn't a blowout. And they have been blown away. They were right in that game up their eyeballs. It was a couple of turnovers that cost them late, and Brisbane seized on that.
Like Damo says, though, they've beaten the Bombers, they've beaten Carlton, they've beaten Port Adelaide.
Yep.
When is a win coming against a higher ranked side? So that's the challenge.
They were in a position yesterday to do that, and they didn't.
Yeah. Once again, they didn't.
And I know you shake your head.
All right, don't forget, but his head looks good today too, doesn't it?
Look, he's very high.
Yeah.
We'll touch on why later, maybe.
Oh, okay, right. All right. Hey,
tease, as it were.
Don't forget, we're heading out to the Food and Wine Festival with Billy and Derm very, very shortly. What caught my eye sounds as if it's going to be a little on the brutal side. Can't wait for deep dive today.
Yeah, we've got a special guest, one of Port Adelaide's big game players, and he's also an assistant coach with the club, who's going to talk about some of the big biffo as well that's gone on in some of the big showdowns over
Ramsgate.
The Ramsgate.
Has there been biffo in Showdown,
has there been? Oh, geez, poor Scotty Cummings copped it one day.
All right, let's cast our mind back.
Big left, right, good night.
Left, right, good night. Let's cast our mind back now to Friday night Adelaide Oval. This game was pumped up as one of the games to gather around, but it was a bit of a dud, really, especially for Magpie fans.
It was 47,000 people there, so not a complete dud, and there was a lot of non-Collingwood
47,000 people saw a pretty ordinary game.
Yeah, there's a lot of non-Collingwood fans there that appreciated this win, but Alex Pearce, for me at the moment, is he the most influential captain in the competition with the impact he's having on games?
Well, Bontempelli's still got it right. His last fortnight's been brilliant, but I'd still have him behind Harris Andrews, Battle, Wilkie.
No, I'm talking about his last month of footy, though.
Yeah,
he's been so impactful, and he's won them games off the back of some of this. Like, in the wet, he had four contested marks, 10 intercept possessions, and just stood up when they needed him. And he did the same last week too with that incredible smother.
No, he's been brilliant.
Jeez, doesn't Rory grow a leg when he's on home turf?
Very good.
Yeah, you're not like this in Melbourne. What do you mean? Well, you barely know he's on the panel.
Maybe he's a live audience operator.
He's the live audience, or he's better live.
Maybe better live.
Yeah. He goes all right, Rory,
No
doesn't
way,
he?
he's not on delay.
Very good.
Yeah, he's in his own.
He likes that one too.
What did he think of his power stance many years ago?
No.
A couple of concussions to come out of that game, which will require the two players who suffered them to miss next week as well. I'm referring to Jordan De Goey and also Sean Darcy here. So they just both, got head knocks, taken out of the game, and obviously will miss matches. It's a shame, unfortunate for Darcy, because that combination that Justin Longmuir was so keen to have up and running with Luke Jackson. Jackson was brilliant again, has had a really, really good season of football, but that man on screen, Sean Darcy, just was regularly banged up for reasons that keep him out of footy.
Alrighty, and don't forget, it all started on Thursday night with the Adelaide Crows and Carlton. So much to talk about with that game, and we'll be doing that later in the show with Llordo's Primetime Takeaways. All right, but as I promised, Billy and Derm live and dangerous for us at Norwood today, where the Food and Wine Festival is. Boys, welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show.
Thank you very much, TJ. We're here, Billy and myself, and there's a big crowd gathered for Billy's comedy festival.
There we are.
Behind us, and they've all turned out for it. But no, it is kicking off at 11 a.m. this morning, Bill, and we're expecting a big crowd.
Oh, there'll be a huge crowd here, Dermot. Good to see you, by the way, mate. And yes, South Australian Government promoted it all week. Come and meet the great man, 5-dayer, 5-nighter. Derm will speak for 15 minutes, which will be 35, and we got no one here. But it's all happening. Pop-up bars, there's cafes, there's restaurants.
Now, where are we again? What's it called?
The Parade. It's called the Norwood Food and Wine Festival. Free entry, and it's here at the Parade, and it's all going to happen here.
And Bill nailed that because he specifically asked for, Grant, if you turn the camera slowly that way, right there, there's Billy's prompt card right in front of us here. Yeah. Bill can read. We've worked that out.
All right then, Dermot. You, later on in the next cross, you're going to talk to the Premier.
Peter Malinauskas.
Who?
Peter Malinauskas.
Well done. You got it. Well done. Yeah. What are you going to ask him?
We'll ask him about a draft or a trade concession with Victoria. Yeah, we want him in Victoria.
That's a good question. Yep. And we got you.
Who have you got?
I've got a chef. Hang on.
Well prepped, Bill.
Duncan Afracola.
Oh, my God, lucky he got that right.
Also, we've got the handball later on. Rory Thilthorpe.
Magnificent.
And Charlie Dixon.
And Charlie Dixon.
Oh, we're getting wind up.
Yeah, we are getting the wind up. Back to you guys.
How's Nath? He was non-verbal when I last saw him.
You made an observation there about Derm's hair.
Well, that looks like a new rinse for Derm. That is bright blonde. I love it.
A bit of lemon juice through it.
No, he's looking good. All right, it is time now for everyone's favourite segment, behind Deep Dive, behind Animal Fact, behind Quiz. It is What Caught My Eye, and kicking us off is the king of comedy.
Well, I'll tell you what did catch our eyes last week, TJ. It was our man who sits to your right and to my left, Nathan Brown, who butchered some TV. This was the definition of car crash TV.
So this is Aaliyah, obviously doing just amazing things, really good things. Just one mark after another, and just dominating the game. Clearly the best man on the ground, and he just strolled out. We just go through this vision. This is not quite the right vision that I had thought of. So again, Aaliyah, and Aaliyah goes back and takes another mark, but it is the wrong vision, so I'll pull it up there. But Aaliyah played really well. But the one I want to talk about is Jonty Fall. There's some analysis here that's not going to come up and hasn't quite worked out for me.
This is the issue when you have a segment where you absolutely target everybody else, and then one day it's going to come back to bite you on the arse.
So I love that, TJ, because he owned it. And we as a network owned it. But we did ask ourselves, as we do each and every week, when we debrief the show, could we have done it better? And I think the answer is yes, we could have done it better. And to that, I refer to this as how another network chose to do it.
Darcy Fogarty was playing a round of golf last Wednesday as broken by Braden Ingram.
So, TJ, you may wonder why I'm playing that, because that was sort of okay, a little bit clunky, but it was sort of okay. But what we were to learn later on, that was a cover-up. And this is how is how the play-on out of that ad break actually did appear.
Thanks for joining us on Footy Classified, wherever you may be watching with us tonight. Darcy Fogarty was playing a round of golf.
So he loves us so much, TJ. He still wants to be on Footy Classified. You've got to get up early, do the work, and when you make a mistake, just edit it out. That's the learning, TJ.
And who found the vision for you?
You did.
Living rent-free in Kane's head, are we, Footy Classified?
He still wants to be part of it. Wow, that is extraordinary.
Speaking of Footy Classified, our mate Browny was on Footy Classified on Monday night. Great job, loved it. Love his analysis. But there was one little opportunity for learning, Browny, and I want to show you. So when you commit to a show, and we sometimes give you a bit of stick for maybe tuning out of this show a bit early, but you've got to stick there to the end. Don't get up and leave.
Like today.
You get up, he wants out. The show hasn't finished yet, Browny. Stay there.
It was late. It didn't start till 9:50.
It is. You do get tired. But I don't actually blame you. I think, just like all children, we're a product of the environment that we're brought up in, yes. So one of our very own, I think you might have learned off from Channel 9 News. So I just want to have a look. Alicia and Tom just here. It's not those two, and it's becoming end of the news. We wrap it up, and our man Tony Jones there. Tony's not even saying goodbye. He's just leaving. So you have learnt a little bit from Tony, even if it wasn't intentional.
Damo.
Yes.
How are you feeling about your hair today? Because it looks high, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
Do you think his hair looks high?
Something about Mary.
It's buffed up out the side. And I've never seen anything like this before, but when I was in the makeup chair, I've never seen Damo get a blow wave like this. Now, Damo, I don't reckon there's too much longer to go with this. I wouldn't be getting too many blow waves if I was you, because there's not a lot left.
Danny chose to use the hairdryer, Brownie, and I didn't say no.
Did it burn your forehead?
The ball patch like yours at the back, yeah.
He's dirtied up. He's dirtied up. Well, I'm glad you've dirtied up, as a matter of fact, because you've got reason to. We've been caught out, haven't we? Like over the journey, we've been caught out when we like to have a little snack or two.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think we've got footage there. There's you, absolutely devouring. There's me, absolutely devouring a pie or two, a party pie. So we've all been caught out. That's probably enough. We don't.
You got it now.
Anyway, so okay, that's good. What
are you doing?
You still going?
It's so good.
Look at that. So
it's not about me, is it?
Remember last week, Brad Hill came in from St Kilda Football Club and had some pizzas, and Josh from Stamping Ground PR came in and was there with the boxes of pizzas. Now we had a little bit, and that was about it.
I think I let my guard down, didn't I?
Damo, look at this. He couldn't get over there to young Josh quick enough. Get the warm on. He's there. Now I don't know what deal you're striking here, but you could not get your snout out of that trough, did you?
I got one with the lot, TJ, and I can vouch for Brad Hill's endorsement of said pizza.
Enjoyed it.
Very nice.
Now, TJ, DOS and D podcasts are going really well. I was on it recently, and I reckon they're starting to struggle for guests, so they asked you on this week, and they asked you, they had a quiz with you, what is the moment you love back in television? You said this.
Which on-camera moment do you wish you could erase?
Oh, I know the answer already without even knowing the choices.
Pickleball at the 2026 Australian Open, the run around Arden Street, the Beck-Judd kiss, and taking on Lou's handball challenge, which we all know how that went.
Most definitely the run. It was at Albert Park, actually. The run around Albert Park.
Oh, it's Albert Park.
Yeah.
Right.
Most definitely.
I'm just staggered and shocked that you selected that, because I would have gone from some of these. So I would have gone potentially this one, the kiss. It wasn't the kiss. Look at that. I would have done KFC where you're all on your own. Oh, that's good. Just eating a KFC. Or was this one when you're smacking down an ice cream after to wash down the KFC? I would have selected that one.
Creepy, TJ.
Oh, creepy. Look at he's staring down Elm McPherson. Then he has a professional wheeler, as Damo described it. I would have selected that one.
The professional wheeler.
This handball, you could have selected that one.
Oh, that one.
Dawn places on here.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Or was it that he made poor...
There it is.
Yeah, he didn't want to... I would have selected about 6 or 7 for that one, TJ.
It's not a good CV, really, when you look at it like that, is it?
You provided some great content.
Have I?
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, and there's still one missing. All right. Okay, we'll take a break. You are watching this. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
Good on you. Well, we enjoy having you here. And the people up on the balcony as well, thanks very much for coming. So, we can see you up there. Thank you. Yeah. And to you at home, stick around. We have got a massive show coming your way. We've only just started. Welcome back. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show Gather Round edition from the banks of the Torrens River. Or the River Torrens it is, actually, isn't it? Yeah. Rory, you should have pulled me up on that, mate.
No, it's all right.
Mr. Adelaide?
Mr. Adelaide?
Mr. Adelaide.
67th Adelaide.
Actually, it's gone down a few.
Yeah, 70.
Well, when the boys catch up with Peter Malinauskas, they can ask him just where you do rank in the overall scheme
he'll come
of
up with a longer list than he did for me yesterday too. So.
Well, nothing rank about Hawthorn because they're ranking right up there in terms of their premiership credentials, and they did that no harm at all last night.
Oh, they were so sharp, TJ. As we touched on earlier, it was just they were flogged through the middle of the ground. They'd seemed to lose confidence throughout that. Their defence was caught short. We'll talk about Buku Karmas across probably the next day or two in his positioning on Jack Gunston. But Lewis was huge, Gunston massive, Moore. The list goes on, and Jack Ginnivan was superb as well. Not too many winners, I would say, for the Western Bulldogs.
The game was won and lost in Hawthorn's 50 arc, and they kicked 6 goals from stoppage, which, look, it's unheard of. And that man, Nick Watson, was a big part of it. Only had the 12 disposals, only kicked the 1 goal, but what he did during this period was brilliant. And the Western Bulldogs, the defence It was like last year's defence. They were caught napping on multiple occasions, but 6 goals from stoppage is huge, and that's the game. That is the game in a nutshell. The Bulldogs don't allow those goals. They're a little bit close, a little bit tighter. They put pressure on Hawthorn, but it's unheard of. 6 goals from stoppage inside the forward 50.
The Collingwood list is in trouble. Like you look at the list, where's their best young players coming from? And when they let go Jack Ginnivan, I didn't think it was a big concern. Jack Ginnivan, I just thought he was a bit part player where he'll bob up and he'll kick a few nice goals. I always liked his skills, but I didn't think he had the ability to do this. He's got that fit at Hawthorn. 28 disposals. He's transformed himself. He can be a wingman. He can be a high half forward. He can go anywhere.
When you see him play, Llordo, he's got the footy smarts, doesn't he?
Real high footy IQ.
And that's what allows him to play higher up the ground. You do need smarts to play that wingman high half forward.
And he doesn't waste the disposal. He's just so clean. He rarely wastes it, and then he can go forward and kick goals. So it's been a massive loss in the end for Collingwood, and the way Hawthorn, he's pulled his head in. He knows when to have fun. He knows when not to, where he probably got that wrong at Collingwood. So he's been a great pickup.
Well, he's part of a forward line that's probably the best in the competition and functioning so well at the moment with Gunston, you got Ginnivan, you got Moore, Watson, McDonald. These guys are absolute stars. But one like Mitch Lewis is now in ripping form as well. And his game last night, a couple of contested marks, kicked 3 goals too. But they've got so many different options now, so many avenues towards goal. And this is an elite finish in pretty tricky conditions at Adelaide Oval last night. But
covered a lot of ground, Mitch Lewis, last night.
Yeah, he did, and that's what I think Hawthorn do really well. They cover a lot of ground, but you mentioned how fit they are before. As a forward line, they can reset really hard and outwork their opponents, but it's their ball use, and again, we mentioned this in our pre-meeting, their ability to shift the angles of the ball and then be able to play into these guys' hands and be able to hit them on a lead-up is the best in the competition.
It's great to see him back from really serious injury multiple times in his short time in the game, Mitch Lewis. One forward who's going to be missing for some time, though, from the Hawks, Rory, is going to be Marby or Chol after soft tissue damage here. He's basically ripped a hamstring in this passage of play. It happened early in the game and not seen, and they managed to work around that last night without him because he has been so important to them, hasn't he, Llordo, now for some time with that way he mans up and takes often the best defender out of the opposition. So without him for a couple of weeks, Dees may come back into calculations, but it is a setback.
Yeah, massive setback, and Kelsher did. It's great. The fight for spots is massive at Hawthorn, so if Kelsher's in good VFL form, he's a fair replacement. My votes from the game, so many high-quality players. John Newcombe was dominant, as Browny touched on, with the record clearances. Ginnivan, superb. Battle won all these battles in defence, and Mitch Lewis, 10 marks. He's a powerhouse.
Battle won his battles.
Don't forget Llordo's Deep Dive coming up a little later on. One not to miss.
One not to miss.
Rub it in, mate.
The vision is superb.
One to miss.
Bring back the biff is what Llordo says, and that's exactly what he'll be doing today. The quiz, what's the theme?
Quiz is all about Adelaide, so mainly centred around Adelaide, Port Adelaide, because we're in Adelaide.
Should not lose, Rory.
He won't lose.
No.
I won last year, so yeah, big things expected.
You won last year.
And we've won the last 2 weeks too.
Don't worry about what we've done. I won last week, so whether I can replicate that or
There's
not.
one question worth 3 points.
Is there?
It's a tough question, yeah. So maybe you should get that one.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I'll do my homework then on all things South Australia. We'll take a break. Stop looking at me, creepy little man. We'll take a break. The Swans and the Bombers are going. The Swans and the Bombers are going home with the 4 points. We'll tell you how and why right after this. It's a massive week in Adelaide, there's no doubt about that. A massive week in South Australia. And it now traditionally begins with the extravaganza hosted by that man, Eddie Maguire, joined by a cast of thousands seemingly, and all things South Australia, all things Adelaide, everything we love about this great state. And being Mr. Adelaide, of course, Rory, I mean, you were there front and centre.
Yeah, I was. No, it was a great night. The sun came out perfect timing. Tony Godro was there. The man, he is Mr. Adelaide, the god of Adelaide himself. He came on and we told a couple of beautiful mod stories. So it was an awesome night. Crowd loved it.
Actually, I've seen him around town quite a bit this week, and he's always smiling.
He's a happy man. Yeah, he's a country fella, so he's just a ripping man, mods. And as the nickname suggests, the god of Adelaide.
Yeah.
Can I tell a quick story on him?
About yourself?
No, there was a London game. Remember the London games they used to play? And there was Adelaide v the West Coast Eagles. And he was sitting down. He was eating buffet breakfast. This guy came up and spoke to him as the guy walked off. Jeez, they even know me here in London. And they said that was Craig Turley, mods. He just come third in the Brownlow medal.
Oh, we've got a couple other mod stories I'll share another time.
All right, what about the Bombers? I know we've got some Bomber fans here, and there's plenty at home as well who are just relishing this scoreline.
I think the whole footy world was pleased to see Essendon win yesterday. I was so happy watching this
the whole
game.
footy world,
I think absolutely everyone, even Melbourne, was happy to see them win.
not.
Yeah, they were. No, Nate Caddy, I thought their leaders all stood up too. Nate Caddy was outstanding. I thought Merritt was great. Even Parrish stood up again. It looked like a weight had come off his shoulders, but it's the best game I've seen Archie Roberts play, I think, in his career.
Yeah, and he's coming off a second in the best and fairest last year to Merritt. So he just finds a footy, Damo. So I had the pleasure of being able to see him coach him as a junior. He has a year 10, 11, 12 at Haileybury College, and he just always knew how to find the football. But I thought
good decisions.
I thought he used it better yesterday than he has all year, and he's courageous. So he also had some massive moments like this where he went back with the fire of the ball, a few knock-ons, and this was massive at the stage of the game, launching that from outside 50.
The big question always around half-backers is, can they become a midfielder, or is he a genuine half-backer?
Yeah, it's a great question, Browny, because they threw him into the midfield to start the year, and I thought it threw him off a bit, so he is a pure half-back flanker right now.
Yeah, Ben Mackay was very good yesterday, so I think it was probably just about his best game for the Bombers. 9 intercepts, and he got on the end of a lot. He had 23 disposals. Look, he's been the whipping boy since he's been there because he's getting paid a big load of money, but I tell you what, when the pressure up the field from the Bombers midfielders is better and the ball's not coming in at a million miles an hour, it is a lot easier for a defender to do his job. You've got to give him his dues. He took some really good marks. He was intercepting yesterday, and it looked like the Ben Mackay that they got him to the club to beat.
There was a lot of games last year where he'd have under 5 disposals, and you can't be a key defender now and do that. Like the best defenders like Harris Andrews and Barras and Battle and Wilkie, they get 20 disposals. That was a wonderful game by him.
You mentioned Archie Roberts, Llordo. Isaac Coco had a good game too, didn't he, Rory, with the support that he got. And again, high draft pick, high wraps on him, a lot of hope. It hadn't worked out for him to this point of 2026, but on this showing, you can see the future.
Absolutely you can. It was the intensity he played with, and sometimes not all about possessions. I think at times his pressure was even better than some of the goals he kicked and the 19 that he had. But they look a much better side when they get their pressure up, Essendon, and he certainly started it for them. So he didn't feature in my votes, but Archie Roberts got my votes for the game. He got the 9, Zach Merritt with the 8. Peter Wright was huge, and I said Darcy Parrish looked like he played with the weight off his shoulders.
Nath, tell us about the Sydney Swans.
Sydney Swans very good. They are a big premiership threat. They won by 32 points, as you can see. Isaac Heaney was clearly the best man on the ground when we get to the votes a little bit later. Rao was back to his best. A little bit sloppy, but I thought he was clearly the Gold Coast Suns' best player. Tom Papley having a nice patch since coming back in. They kicked with a pretty big breeze in the first quarter. They kicked 5 goals, 6, and I thought, did they miss too many shots and were Gold Coast going to come back? But at the end of the day, Sydney's pressure was enormous. They couldn't move the ball anywhere, the Gold Coast Suns, and they were the best team on the day by a long way.
They were, and one guy's pressure that was amazing. He had 12 tackles, and I think he's in as good a form as Max Gawn was Brodie Grundy. These new rules, he's had to adjust really well because he was never a jumper. He was always a body-up ruckman that came across the line and one tap out. So he's had to adjust really quickly his game style, but his follow-up work, Llordo, through CB and around the ground. He had 7 clearances again yesterday, so he is another midfielder that you get.
He's an absolute workhorse, Brodie Grundy. So he wants to be the number one. He doesn't want to share, and he just grinds away. So it'll be tricky for him when they do play guys like Meek and Reeves, whether they can try and wear him down. But he's fantastic again. Justin McInerney, he's another one that's
had a good year, Lloyd.
Yeah, because he hits the scoreboard. Brownie touched on the goals that Sydney players kick. Well, he always hits the scoreboard. McInerney had 27 disposals, kicked the goal as well. He's tough. And he's one of those players that's just getting better and better. And he won't be sat on very often because of Goulden and Warner and Heaney and these types of players. He's so damaging.
Brownie, as you get to your votes in a moment's time, are you worried about the Gold Coast now that they've lost 2 in a row, Melbourne last week?
Well, against really good opposition yesterday, I thought they got found out. So they'll go to work. They'll go to work and they'll figure out what they need to do against the best sides. And look, they are going to play top 8 football. They're going to play finals. They're going to be around the mark. Heaney was the best man on the ground. McInerney, you just spoke about, Warner and Rowell.
The problem with the forward handball game for me, and Sydney got into trouble playing Hawthorn, but when teams press you and press up on you and defend you well enough, is you can expose them going back the other way. So Gold Coast need to tidy that up.
We'll take a break here on the Sunday Footy Show. Michael Christian, the match review officer, will be sitting back waiting for your next segment, the deep dive, because there is a lot of biff to sift through, and a star of days gone by will be joining us to do just that. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show.
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show, and it is time to celebrate some of the great games in AFL history, particularly over the last 30 years. And we're going to look back today, the 2013 showdown between the Adelaide Crows and Port Adelaide. It was a famous victory for Port Adelaide. One of those guys who dominated the day is Hamish Hartlett. He dominated with 25 disposals and 3 goals. Big round of applause for Hamish. Hamish, can you talk us about a showdown? I can't imagine. I loved Anzac days, but tell us what the build-up was like compared to a normal game.
Yeah, they were always pretty incredible games to play in. It really was like a finals-type atmosphere in the whole lead-up to the game. And then, yeah, the first sort of 5 or 10 minutes of those contests were always very hot. Pressure was high. Physicality was always there, and they were a lot of fun to play in.
Can I ask, do you think it's the greatest rivalry in footy, the showdown?
I reckon there's a bit more to the showdowns than there are with other rivalries, particularly here in South Australia. Obviously, you're either a Port Adelaide fan or a Crows fan, and I think we'll see some vision shortly of some pretty physical contests that have happened in the past. Well, they're great fun to be.
Actually, can I just get a response to that? Is it the greatest rivalry in football?
I feel it is, TJ. Yeah, I honestly do feel it is. And I've and again, this doesn't go down well in Adelaide, but I think it's that big that at some stage it could go to the MCG. A bit like State of Origin Rugby League has done.
How would you do that?
It would grow. It would actually grow the game.
Great call, Dave.
Anyway, I've had this argument years ago. I'm not going to back away from it. But that's how big I think it is, TJ. I mean, we're in a world where the NRL, when the NRL State of Origin is regularly played outside of those 2 states of Queensland and New South Wales, it's grown on the back of that. I've had the view for some time. I know it's not going to happen, but that's how big I think it is. You mentioned the contest being hot, Hamish. Regularly hot and sometimes illegally hot. And we always frown at the biffo, don't we? But we always look back on it with nostalgia. And there's some massive moments.
So this
Scotty
is
Cummings and Rod Jamison going at it there. And just massive
How is this allowed?
And this one, how bad was that?
Big on.
Yeah.
Now, kids, if you're about to go to your junior footy, do not do this, please.
And
this is Byron Pickett and Brett Biglands, yeah.
Yep. There was on Pickett who used to lay a few out.
You don't run into Byron Pickett. Like, that's just a big no-no.
No.
And then the next one, Dean Brogan.
Dean Brogan on Jericho here as well. So,
watch this one. Even a trainer goes down after this. So there's an Adelaide Crow. So at the end of it, do you know who knocked him down?
Yeah, no, this is Vinny. Vinny goes down hard. No one. We've ripped Vinny for that one. No, you've got to get on your feet, Vinny.
And before we throw to this, I don't know, you were at the club. You were at the club a long time after this, but the Ramsgate battle. Did you hear much about that? What went on at the Ramsgate?
Nah, Curry, he stays pretty tight-lipped about that battle. I reckon he knows Roo got him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so he sort of, he remains pretty quiet about that stuff.
Can we just elaborate on that for those that might not know the history of it?
So in 2002, it spilled into the Ramsgate Hotel. So it just happened that the Port players were socialising at the Ramsgate, as were the Adelaide Crows. It spilt onto the streets, and here is some players involved in that speaking about it.
They all ran out, and she was on for young and old.
How many players involved?
At least 10 from each team. There was punches, blokes being thrown on cars.
Yeah, everyone wanted to talk to me outside, so I thought, what's this about?
He went to try and knee me in the private bits.
I knew if he got me in the headlock, I was in a bit of trouble. And then I had to resort to the dirty tactics and go the squirrel grip on him to release the headlock.
I think Kari might have went flying across the front of the bottom when I threw him. We could hear the cop cars coming, so we all did the bolt.
The penalties that we copped, I think it was, a suspended fine and this sort of stuff.
So now Rory, so it's a big build-up.
Do we have to do this next bit?
Let's go to 2013.
No,
let's have a look.
I really don't feel like diving into this game at all. I was actually in the grandstands, but in 2013, and we came off the back of a prelim year. Kenny Hinckley's first year, and we'll roll some tape of the game because it was a really good game of footy.
This man dominated.
Yeah, he absolutely dominated. He killed us, but it was back and forward the whole game, and it was late where Port really got on top and came from behind. Hammer.
Yeah, it was one of those games that the momentum was sort of bouncing around between both teams for a majority of the game. And I think you boys were about 20 points up with sort of 4 or 5 minutes to go.
And you guys came off a couple of years struggling. It was Kenny's first year, and there was a bit of momentum and a bit of pride to play for in that game too, wasn't there?
Yeah, definitely. We sort of had a sense that year that we were just incredibly fit. I think our fitness across the whole squad had gone to a new level, and Darren Burgess was a big part of that, and Kenny had instilled a huge amount of belief in us in the way we played, and we thought we could beat anyone at any time, at any circumstance of the game, and it just happened to be the case that day.
There were Hamish's highlights. He was a very good player on that day, but at half-time, Port Adelaide led by 21 points, and then Adelaide went bang. They kicked 7 goals in the third quarter, and a lot of those were out of the middle. The Dangerfield kicked one out of the middle. Remember Lewis Johnson? He kicked one out of the middle. He kicked 4 for the day. Danger kicked 4 for the day. Petrenko kicked a couple early, and all of a sudden it was on. So a 21-point lead all of a sudden was a 21-point lead to Adelaide. They just flipped the script. They kicked 7 goals, and there was mistakes coming. Have a look at these ones running in. That's Matty Wright, I think, running into a goal, and then Mitch Grigg with a big long bomb as well on the left foot. These are just famous names you haven't heard of them
so, Hamish,
for a long time.
Adelaide are 20 points up at the 21-minute mark. What turned this game around?
Yeah, like I said, Llordo, I think we'd come back a few times earlier on in the season against various opposition. I think we beat West Coast earlier on in that year. We were about 40 points down, and we come back and beat them, and we just had that belief that we could overrun any team, and we were an incredibly fit team at that point in time all across the park. Obviously got a little bit of luck along the way, and the momentum was just was insane. Yep.
Who were your big game players, you reckon, at that time for Port Adelaide?
Well, Boakey, I reckon that was the first year that Boakey was skipper, and he put everyone on his shoulders just about every game, and played exceptionally well. Chatty Wingard was the one in particular that game that stood out.
Stop Robbie Gray through the midfield.
Yeah.
We could not stop him.
Well, okay, you talk about Robbie Gray and Chad Wingard. They combined to bring the margin back to 8 points, if you recall. And then I guess the feeling very much on the ground, it is game on. So take us through this particular section here once the margin started being reduced.
Yeah, this is so 20 points down, 5 or almost 6 minutes to go. Robbie kicks up one out of the stoppage, and you go, maybe there's a bit of a pulse. There's Sammy Colhoun. Hits up Chatty Wingard. I reckon that might have been Chatty's 4th goal
it was his 4th,
for the game. As a 19-year-old kid, huge moment, and just absolutely love those moments. And this is from a D50 stoppage. Cam O'Shea just sort of whacks it out to the open side. Jacko kicks the ball like Jacko usually does. Gussie Monfrey sells some of the worst candy you've ever
bounced this way? Ever history of the game?
And there you go. Yeah. And then we saw Chad Wingard's 4th goal earlier, and then his 5th was the one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and by this sort of stage of the game, the crowd's going ballistic, and we had the momentum right up. There's a young Ollie Wines in his first year. Gussie Monfrey's to the top of the square, and Chatty had his name written all over that one right from the start. And for a 19-year-old kid to want that moment and accept it and deliver was pretty extraordinary.
Wow, what a game.
Kane Mitchell, some great names, great memories.
Yeah, unbelievable game to look back on. Just such a special rivalry. I think it is number one. Damo, I can't believe what you went with earlier, that you take it away from the fans who love it.
To grow it, to make it even bigger.
We normally go with you, Damo. I don't think we can go with that one.
I reckon we can get 100,000 at the MCG for a showdown if we bring back a bit of that stuff that we saw earlier.
You're now a coach with the Power?
That's right, yeah. So doing stoppage, contest and opposition analysis. So busy role, but it's been fantastic. Great group of coaches around us, so it's been great.
Big game against the Saints today.
Yeah, later on tonight, I think 6:45, so hopefully there's still plenty of people around. We get a big crowd there, but St Kilda have been going quite well. We're clearly looking to get on the right end of the win-loss ledger, hopefully after this week.
Thanks so much for coming on today. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, it has. Absolutely fantastic. All right, don't forget a little later on in the program, the Premier Peter Malinauskas and also the head of the AFL, Andrew Dillon. And the big item on their agenda at the moment is moving Showdown to the MCG, apparently. All right, you are watching the Sunday Footy Show. Damo, we might have to edit that bit out, mate. It can be done.
I've been saying it for years, TJ. I've argued it for a long time. I know it gets no traction, but I'll keep arguing it.
Let me just test the waters here. Who thinks it's a good idea to take Showdown away from Adelaide?
Yeah, you might need security out of here.
The greatest sport in the country is the NRL State of Origin, and they take it away from...
NRL.
I'm just telling you.
NRL.
We're playing an NFL game.
Okay.
San Francisco...
Get some security for Barrett ready.
Okay, and as we go to the break, would you like to send a message to Damian Barrett? We'll be back with more in just a moment. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show.
Hi, I'm Max Gorn, and welcome to South Australia. This morning, went for a nice run on the trail, and now we're in Barossa, and decided to get on a horse. This is Zeppy, loves carrots. I love carrots as well, but yeah, South Australia is very blessed with wine and food. I can't work out what I like more. Particularly the Watervale Hotel. Menu changes every day based on what's booming at the farm. All really tasty. Literally got that day, cooked that day, ate that day. It's a pretty cool way to eat.
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Nathan just said that he's never ridden a horse before.
I've never ridden him. You just showed me a picture of you on a horse, and the horse is bowing in the middle.
It's about to hit the deck.
Oh, that is harsh.
I'll send it. Jack, if I send this to you, can we show it? Okay, good. All righty. In the meantime, let's talk. Yeah, he's not looking good, that horse, is he? In the meantime, let's talk about North Melbourne and Brisbane.
We had the debate early in the show, TJ, where they started well, the Roos, but as Brisbane do, they know how to win games. Oscar Allen, he's kicking multiple goals most weeks, which is brilliant. He's kicked 3. McCarthy back. It's another inclusion on previous years. Bailey's a star. He's kicked 2. Lachie Neale. He had a lot of controversy in the off-season, but he's starring again. Bailey McCluggage. The list goes on and on. But I wanted to take a look at Browny, Oscar Allen's game yesterday.
Yeah, he was really good, wasn't he? He's just starting to fit in, and he's leading patterns at the moment. He's finding space, and you forget how strong he was in the air and how big he is. And he's just an asset for them. Obviously, no Joe Danaher there anymore. And to pair him with Logan Morris, it is a big forward line at the moment. And have a look at that, just the awareness. I think he reads the ball as good as any forward in the game at the moment. 3 goals, that's a great return.
There's no pressure on him at Brisbane. Like, you can just play your part. You know, he's the captain. They were losing. They were throwing him back. They were throwing him forward. That's the issue in our comp. There's a lot of question marks on father-son. They've got to do something about that where, you know, the worst club, they lose players to the best club. I think that's I'd be looking more at that than the
So ban a premiership-winning team getting access to a free agent from a bottom club.
Yeah, I think something like that could be looked at.
Because you throw Sam Draper in that mix as well as a free agent.
Yeah, I think it's a big issue for the game.
Yeah, one guy who is a free agent at the end of the year as well and did no harm to his price tag was Zach Bailey again. He's been in outstanding form, and I still don't know where his best position is because he's high half forward. He's so good when he gets up the ground, but I love when he pinch hits in the midfield. I think his pressure's so good. He's obviously so powerful. He's clean, and like we've spoken about the Swans, like a couple of Swan midfielders, he hits a scoreboard. So this is what he does best. He works his way up the ground, and he's got the best fend off, and he's so powerful. So
I think they're the best players in our game. Those guys who can kick goals forward, like Heaney, Pickett, Bailey, those
Warner.
And as we're finding out with these deals coming, they're certainly the most valuable too.
And he's doing it in a year where that deal is up, and he's just adding dollars to it every game.
What's the votes? The votes from yesterday's game dominated. Lachie Neale, I thought, was the best man on the ground with 30 disposals. Zach Bailey, Davies Uniacke's having a good season, and Jared Berry, tough as nails again yesterday.
Sunday Footy Show spreading our wings this morning. We're here on the banks of the River Torrens, and we're also at Norwood with Derm and Bill. Let's head out to Bill now. And who you got with you, Billy?
Thanks, TJ. I'm here with Duncan Africola. He's a chef, a very good chef. You've got your own restaurant in Adelaide.
I do, a couple, yeah.
What's it called?
Africola.
Yes. And what is it? South African?
It's African accented, but it's a predominantly South Australian restaurant with a little bit of an African twist.
Oh, nice. And you are the Tasting Australia Festival curator.
I am indeed.
What does that mean?
It means that I'm responsible for putting together the program, and if it fails, it's on me.
So if you missed out on Gather Round, we got Tasting Australia. Here it is here, the festival from... There's our prop. Good work, Alice. Great.
8th to the 17th of May.
And what happens there?
It is Australia's best food and wine festival. So if you love food and wine and you didn't make it to Gather Round, that is the place to come.
Good. All right, what are we cooking up today, Chef?
We are cooking up something as iconic as a pie floater.
Yes.
It's my chicken skin sandwich.
Chicken skin sandwich.
Yeah.
Like a club sandwich?
Yep, absolutely. So you've got your really wafer-thin chicken skin.
Yes.
We've got some brilliant sourdough from Wonder White.
Sourdough, yes. What's bubbling here?
That is peri-peri chicken drippings. So all the chicken juices and fat that come off our chickens, That's what we're going to use to dip the sandwich in. So, peri-peri mayonnaise.
Yeah, oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nando's did not invent this. This was...
This is yours?
This is ours, yeah, absolutely.
Africola.
And it's really, really simple. It's a little bit dirty, that's why we like it.
Oh.
So, parsley for freshness.
Yes, parsley. And a bit of salt.
A little bit of salt right on the end. But we layer it up with chicken skin.
Yes.
So-
And then what? Dunk it.
Yeah, so crust off because
Oh, yeah, we don't like crust.
it is slightly, still restauranty. We try and make it a little bit fancy.
So you put this on it and that's an extra $10.
Yeah, 20 bucks because of the fuel crisis. So
Yes.
there we go.
Oh, down the middle, here we go. And, don't tell me, chef.
Look at that.
Look at that, and in there.
Dunk it in.
Dunk it in. Just like that?
Just like that.
And eat it.
You've done this before.
Oh, shit, it's hot. Chicken skin.
Tea sandwich.
Tea sandwich.
Yeah, that's it.
Righto, tell us about it. Tasting Australia, right here in Adelaide. The 8th, you better say it, the 8th to the 17th of May.
Of May, 2026.
And come and meet Duncan. I'd love to have a beer with Duncan, but I'm having a chicken skin sandwich with Duncan.
I doubled it.
Wow.
Don't double dip.
Now, you're sort of like a culinary expert there.
I like the sound of that.
Do you?
Yes, I want to try that.
Llordo?
Not sure about the health aspect of that.
No,
so maybe once a year, maybe.
He's thinking about the rig already. It is a delicious sandwich. I've had it.
Last time we tried to delve into health issues, it didn't go all that well.
That's true, yeah.
That's right.
Don't worry.
We got fact checked.
We got fat checked, yeah.
By McClure.
Checked, yeah.
And muzzled.
And muzzled, yeah.
We were muzzled.
McClure has been a hero about it. Sam. Like, did he carry on?
He's got his car yet? Hey, you'll see Sam McClure on Footy Classified tomorrow night, and of course Eddie and the boys on Tuesday night. Footy Classified must-see TV. And as we go to the break, a reminder that it is on Mondays, it is on Tuesdays, and sometimes you might see a special guest panelist like we did last week with Nathan.
Good panel. He was very good last week, TJ.
I tell you what, they must have gone down that list pretty long, I would have thought. So tune in Mondays and Tuesdays. Footy Classified, the Sunday Footy Show, back after this.
Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show, time for everybody's favourite segment, Brownie's Quiz, brought to you by Sportsbet, and a very good gather round to you, Tony Barber. Okay, so who are we playing for?
He's looking at you, TJ, but I'll go first. Charlotte Marnie, but he was looking at you. Yeah. Charlotte Marnie's the person I'm playing for, Brownie, from St Kilda East in Victoria.
Andrew Elliott from Mildura, Victoria.
Katie Phillips from Bold Plains in Queensland.
And thanks for asking. I'm playing for John Bracegirdle from Cheltenham in Victoria.
Nice work, playing for $250. So there are no buzzers. Normally we have buzzers, so you've got to just read out. Actually, Damo, you can be I love Kane.
No, I'm not. I won't partake.
You can be mustache.
Mustache.
Llordo, you can be ice cream because you lick yourself like an ice cream. And you can be
pickleball.
Boat horse.
Boat horse.
Boat horse. All right, we're going to get that photo up for you in a minute.
Okay, question number one.
What about the board? Oh, let's do that later. Sorry.
We'll do it.
Let him run the quiz.
Let me run the quiz. Who was Port Adelaide's first captain?
Ice cream. Gavin Wanganeen.
Gavin Wanganeen is correct. And what year did Gavin Wanganeen win the Brownlow medal?
Damien.
Hey.
Yeah,
1993.
Bode. 1993.
Yep.
Damo said that. That's
No.
You
got to
didn't
say I love Kane.
I'm not saying that.
Well, then it's going to be a tough quiz. Okay.
I get that. No, I get that.
Tony gets it.
You got to put one on there.
No.
This is for 2 points. Actually, 3 points. What number did John Klug wear in Adelaide's first season?
20. Boat horse.
Mustache.
Stop yelling it out.
No, stop yelling it out.
Number 20.
He actually was.
Now, what was that for?
2 points because someone yelled it out.
Yeah.
For 2 points.
I'll take it.
Name all 4 grounds that have been used since the start of Gather Round.
Mustache.
Ice cream.
Adelaide Oval. Norwood.
Nah, don't.
Boat horse.
You got 4.
Boat horse.
Yeah, the Barossa.
Yeah. Mount Barker's the other one.
Well done, Tony. Way to a good start, Tone.
Do I get something?
Yeah, you got a point.
Oh.
Mark Rasciuto won how many All-Australians?
Mustache.
Mustache?
8.
8 is correct. Damo, you keep saying Damian, you're not going to get in.
Well, I'm not saying the other thing.
When do you do the
All right,
board?
say I dislike Kane then.
When do you do the
that's a
board?
great question. That's why I was trying to help him there before.
Yeah, that right there, yeah. That's So you get a pick of the board. Mustache?
Mustache does. Godra.
Big Tony. Oh, he looks good up there. You can steal a point off somebody.
Thanks, TJ.
Oh, no way.
Sorry, mate. I do love that.
All right, Tony Modric kicked 129 goals in 1993.
Is his second year of footy?
Incorrect.
Damian. Gary Ablett kicked 124.
But he didn't win the Coleman medal. What year did he win the Coleman medal?
Both 97.
97 is correct. So you keep answering like that. So you got two choices. You can say, I love Kane, or I don't like Kane. All right? So your choice. Don't say Damian.
Is that a board?
Yep, let's pick the board.
No. Oh, no. No, don't. Now they're
I'll
telling
go Malcolm Blight.
No, we can't.
I'll go Malcolm Blight.
We're playing for money here, Browny. You've got to pick again.
No, hang
pick
on
again.
a minute.
No, you're not playing for money here. You can't pick again.
Pick
again.
You can't pick again.
Okay, Rui.
Closest to the pin.
No, hang on. Why aren't I getting a pick of the board?
Because they're throwing it out at you. So we're going to skip that one. Closest to the pin. Warren Treadray kicked how many goals for Port Adelaide?
Treaders kicked 621.
658.
590.
649.
549. You got that one, Llordo. Who has played the most games for Adelaide?
Mustache. Andrew McLeod.
That is correct. Closest to the pin, Gavin Wanganeen, career Brownlow votes. Everyone gets a go.
182.
139.
I'll go 150.
No, I'll say 159.
109 was the answer. Who was closest there?
Llordo, I think.
Llordo, that's you, mate.
No, hang
pick of the board.
I said 150. So who was the
I
lowest?
went 129.
So Rory.
Okay, Rory, pick of the board.
Let's go the Messiah. Malcolm Blight.
Oh, no, taking him off the board. Taking him off the board.
Rashudo.
Please be minus 3.
Big shoot.
That's who you supported.
Maybe I was sabotaged from out there.
Question number 8. Who was Port Adelaide's first coach in the AFL?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
John Cale. Yeah.
John Cale is right. Someone has scored that man away.
Yeah.
Question number 9. Which defender was Adelaide's last Rising Star winner?
Mustache.
Ice cream.
Daniel Talia.
Daniel Talia is right. You get a pick of the board. It's the last pick. Eddie Betts. Eddie Betts.
Eddie Betts.
You're in the middle. You get +2. Oh. Okay, here is the Who Am I?
Right.
I'm a 2-time premiership player for the Adelaide Crows.
I've got to go here, Brownie. So whatever you think, buzzer, I've got something to do with Kane. Rod Jamison.
Incorrect. I played over 300 games.
Tyson Edwards.
Tyson Edwards is right. And that is a big win for Rory. You got the 4 points. You go to 6. Who did you play for?
I played for Andrew Elliott from Mildura. Some Mildura people here? Yeah. Love Mildura. That's coming down.
Do you know him? Do you know Andrew Elliott? Oh.
No. Well done, Andrew. So if you want to join in, QR code, you can scan that and be part of this fun. So Damien, I just want you to test your buzzer one more time.
It's not working today, Brownie.
All right, where are we?
Hey, can we go through what happened on the previous ad break?
Yeah.
Where Dame went out on a limb. Well, I love that you've got opinions that not everyone has to conform to. That he said that he'd take this showdown
to grow it
to the MCG. We all turned on him. As soon as we went to the ad break, Rory looks at him and says, I'm with you on that. And Damo goes, well, couldn't you have said it on air and supported him?
No, I'm flipping. No, of course I do. I actually agree. And I'm going to help Damo out. I said it before. You didn't hear me. I'm going to bring it up later with Andrew Dillon. So, yeah.
Wow. Folks, this has been an extraordinary morning for the history of football in this state. We are taking a break. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show.
It is prime time takeaways time, and it's where we look back at the Thursday and Friday games. We're going to go back and look at the Adelaide Crows taking on Carlton. They got the win, the Adelaide Crows, but they conceded 7 goals in the first quarter to Carlton. 5 of those came from the midfield, Rory. So the question is to our panel, how concerned should we be about this Adelaide Crows midfield to go deep this year?
No, 4 of them are from centre bounce as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more of a structural thing, and I'm probably going against a lot of media, in particular like Sam Berry. I think he's had a ripping year so far. 22 touch, disposals a game, 5 clearances. Rochelle? We like Rochelle in the midfield, don't we?
I think he's more a forward midfielder.
Midfield.
Yeah.
He's not yet proven to be able to do it for a whole game, for a whole season.
He's had 2 ripping weeks against Geelong and then
I'm not denying
Carlton.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
Jordan Dawson is a good solid midfielder.
Yeah, more than solid.
Yeah, and then we just need to add one more in there. You got Peatling, who's a
Where's
really
Rankin
solid
at?
run with. I think Rankin's more your forward that will come up and pinch hit from forward. So
Where's Soligo at? Soligo 18 months ago looked like he was going to be one of the best midfielders in the comp.
So he had a heart issue in the pre-season, so he's been getting his legs back in, but they've been playing him down forward too. So he has barely come in for any midfield minutes. So I would suspect once he gets his sort of legs back in and he gets his fitness back up, he'll come through the midfield because they need him. And I think that's a missing key at the moment.
Llordo, you posed the question because you are worried, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so. I think that the Adelaide Crows have lost 3 tight games by under 8 points, but you keep losing tight ones for a reason. And I think that when the whips are cracking against the best midfields in the game in Brisbane and Sydney, I won't say Hawthorn in that, the Doggies potentially, they may get found out. To the next one, TJ, you're a Collingwood man. Collingwood and Fremantle. They losing tight ones now, Collingwood. They made some bad errors. They used to have the aura around them that they could do it from anywhere. That's gone now, isn't it?
Yeah, we were at an adventure park here in Adelaide with Jamie Elliott and Brad Maynard yesterday. And just speaking with Jamie Elliott, he was absolutely filthy with the result here because he knows they had chances and he knows, to quote him, they're not connecting at the moment.
Yeah.
There's just a complete sort of disregard in terms of their connection. So what they did yesterday at the team hotel, they broke off in groups. The defenders had little meetings. The forwards and the mids had meetings. And he said to the playing group who he was with, anyone's got any issues whatsoever, now's the time to table it. So I found that quite interesting.
Sounds like there might be a little few issues there, which if they're having to break up into discussions like that. But what I will say is, under Craig McRae and Collingwood, they're always in games. It's just that they're lacking the firepower to go on and win them.
Yeah, and that was just their late misses, I think, that cost them most. Fremantle had 2 forward 50 entries and kicked some ripping goals, but their tackle pressure was up, their contested numbers were up, they had more inside 50s. They dominated that game, but just couldn't hit the score.
They should have won the game. And here is the Lou Richards leaderboard as it stands right now. And at the top of the pops is Nick Dacos. Zach Butters gets to play tonight. Marcus Montempelli wouldn't have voted. Isaac Heaney is coming hard. Bailey and Luke Davies-Uniacke.
And, of course, those votes brought to you by our good friends at Hyundai. Great to have Hyundai on board with us this season, sponsoring the Lou Richards Medal. And they are doing big things in the biggest game. So big, we're going to snatch the Port Adelaide Crows game and plonk it at the MCG. We're excited to be doing big things with you and the Lou Richards Medal in 2026. So a big thank you to Hyundai. All right, let's head back out to Norwood now because the most important man in this state is now with Peter Malinauskas.
Thank you, guys. I am down here at the Norwood Food and Wine Festival with the Premier, Mr. Peter Malinauskas. Pete, welcome.
Thanks very much, Happers. Derm.
My pleasure. How good is this?
It's good. We're expecting over 100 grand through here in the next hour or so. So it's going to crank. We saw last year a massive crowd at the parade. So, and when the footy finishes today, because the schedule's a little bit different for this year at Norwood, we expect the crowds to get even bigger in the afternoon.
How are you going with the popularity? I mean, Victorians want to love a premier, and we come over here and we see you. And we love it.
No. I'm very conscious, Derm, that in politics, any affection is very temporary. Very temporary. So, no, I'm just glad to see so many people enjoying themselves. And it's hard not to get that vibe throughout the course of the weekend, particularly as it sort of meanders through. Like, the excitement almost builds and peaks, I reckon, today. And then, obviously, it'll be back to reality tomorrow.
Tell us about the balance between serving your constituents with Serving South Australia and Gather Round, which is aimed at a specific type of person who follows the footy. You still have to service the community this.
Do you know what's interesting about Gather Round? And I've heard this more as it's sort of matured over the last few years. I know people are now getting involved in Gather Round who have no interest in footy because it's the vibe of it, right? And you look at some of the people around, it's just got that inclusive feel. And like things like the Street Food and Wine Festival here and in the Barossa, it's come all interest, you know. Anyone's welcome. And that's the prevailing sentiment of the event that's now gone to a new level that seems to be what makes it different.
So we've had the exposure, like me, a Victorian. I've met West Australians who come over for the week as well. You're getting people from all over Australia. But the exposure to the Barossa, a couple of years ago, Mount Barker. This year it seems like the Fleurieu Peninsula is getting a little bit of airtime.
It is, and we'd like to give it some more, Derm, but we need a longer-term gather round deal to be able to shore that up. So the Brossa worked because we made an investment that the rest of that community benefits from 51 weeks of the year.
Yep.
1 week a year we showcase the Brossa. But we're only able to make that stack up because we had a 3-year deal.
Do you feel like the AFL have semi-put it to market to try and get a bit of an up in the game?
You'd have to ask them. They're certainly flirting with this opening round idea that Andrew Pridham from the Swans put out during the course of the week. And I think we're just going to be careful that we don't butcher what makes Gather Round so special, and that is the very fact it is so unique.
Yeah.
Like, if you try and make it sort of another version of it, I think will diminish the value of the original product. So, and I'm going to make sure my responsibility to the people of this state, the taxpayer, is to protect our interests as best as we can through a contract, and that's what we're negotiating through at the moment.
I'll play the role of Andrew Dillon for a second.
All right.
I'm going to grant you 5 to 10. What are you going to do?
We're going to make Gather Round even bigger than it has been in the last few years. We're going to invest in community infrastructure rather assertively in a way that footy will benefit from. And we want to do something, and we'll wear the risk of it, Derm, the state, the people of South Australia, the government, of putting something together where we bring all 18 teams in the one place at the one time to provide a fan-based experience that you can't get in any other round of footy, including grand final week.
Before we let you go, the biggest question. Did Port win today?
That's the most important question, Derm. Yeah, I reckon they do. We haven't lost a Gather Round game yet.
Well, it's home base.
I know that doesn't sound like a controversial statement, but we beat the Hawks when no one expected us to last year.
Very true.
Look,
Convincingly.
obviously, yeah. Look. Rosie out does hurt us, but I give us every chance against the Saints tonight. It'll be an important one if we can get it away. 3-2, I'd take that start to the year.
Pete, your presentation has been magnificent. We love coming to Gather Round. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Get to Norwood. Thanks.
Cheers.
Dean Derm, the Premier there. Just before we get to the break, yes, no answer. Should Gather Round stay here permanently?
Resoundingly.
Shouldn't even be a question.
Absolutely.
Yes for me.
Absolutely. And if the AFL was to ever take it away, it'd be one of the worst decisions in football. Probably worse than when Richmond signed up Nathan. So we'll take a break.
That's not funny.
You are watching the Sunday. That was good.
No, it wasn't funny.
Well, I know. Just ask any Richmond supporter. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. Back with more in just a moment. Not bad. We'll get to that in a moment. Geelong and West Coast. Nath?
I'm off to that game very, very shortly. Geelong win this game comfortably against the West Coast Eagles. Tough conditions out there.
Yeah, GWS v Richmond. The Giants get Buckley, Bedford, Daniels and Cadman back and should be far too strong.
Yeah, and Port Adelaide play St Kilda. We've got a lot of Port fans. They get up, don't they? Yep. St Kilda need to get a move on, though. They've only won one game for the year.
All right, here we go. The biggest segment of the Sunday Footy Show, folks. Damo's Animal Fact.
Hello and welcome back to Nate's Animal Fact, where Ranger Rory and I are propping up Damo's struggling segment, Animal Fact. Now, Rory, today, we're going kayaking.
We are, Nath. We're down here at Garden Island in Port Adelaide, and we're going to go to the Adelaide Dolphin Sanctuary. And who knows, we might see a couple of dolphins. Get him out there. Call in those dolphins for us.
When they said it's a dolphin sanctuary, I realised there'd be dolphins, but there are stacks of them.
We didn't think we'd see that many?
No.
Would you bring any bread for them?
What would I bring bread for?
Well, just like whales, can't we feed the dolphins some bread?
TJ feeding the whales at the pier, the bread. Beautiful day, Rory. So, what do we got behind us?
We're at the Garden Island shipwrecks. There's over 40 of these things scattered through the Port River here.
And how old is the one behind us?
One from the naked eye looks about 170 years old, I think.
170 years of age?
Yep.
Nearly as long as TJ's been the number 2 newsreader at Channel 9. Back to you, John.
A few zingers there.
Couple of zingers.
Stupid little man.
A lot of animals. And further to the animal fact, I spoke about how TJ rode a horse and I said that the horse was bowing. Well, here it is. That poor horse.
It's sinking.
He's bowing.
It's sinking into the sand.
Quicksand.
Where's the rest of its legs?
Did it survive?
No. All right, well, it's with great pleasure, though, we welcome the head of the AFL, the CEO, the boss, Andrew Dillon.
There you go.
And Andrew, thanks for joining us as always. Look, the deal for Gather Round is up. You're negotiating with a well-known deal maker in Peter Malinauskas, who we believe has thrown in a request for the State of Origin match to be part of the wider conversations. What can you tell this crowd and our listeners and our viewers today?
Well, what I can say is that we're having great discussions. There's a few things we're working through, and one of the things we were speaking about off air was the length of the deal. So with Tasmania coming into the competition in 2028, we've got some complexities with the draw, so we just want to make sure we work through them, and ultimately we want to get to the right deal, and we'll do that.
And State of Origin is part of the wider conversation, that South Australia wants a piece of that action which WA got last year?
Yeah, look, it's part of the conversation, but obviously, you know, it was so successful in WA last year as well, and we had the Indigenous All-Stars before that. So as well as working out what we do with Gather Round, we've got a plan that we want for representative footy. So we're just trying to bring the two of them together.
And you mentioned 2028 with Tasmania coming in. Is it possible it might be 27 locked away for South Australia and beyond that is still up in the air?
Oh, look, I think what we want to do is when we land, that we do land and give some certainty. So that's why we're just taking probably a bit longer than maybe what we would have thought, but just to make sure that we bed it all down.
With Tasmania, Andrew, where will they start? Will the stadium be ready?
Oh, look, the stadium is going to be on board for 2030 or 31, and so that was always part of the plan, that they would play the first year or two out of Launceston and Hobart in the old Bell Reef Stadium. So they've made a lot of progress under Brendan Gale and the team down there, and all systems go.
Hey, Dills, Damon's had an agenda now for 3 years to get a showdown, which this crowd wasn't happy about. I've sort of come along to the idea, but to get a showdown at the MCG, have you ever entertained his idea?
This is the first I've ever heard of it.
It's really listening to you, Damo.
All things start off as a kernel of an idea, so who knows, yeah.
Just on
it'd grow.
Round zero absolutely got smashed, Dills, this year in terms of where it's at. So is that over? And could we see 18 teams start the season next year? All the fans want 18 teams starting.
Let me just start with, so we had 5 games in opening round. We had 82,000 at the MCG on the Sunday, so the highest crowd that St Kilda's ever played in home and away. We had a sellout at the Gabba, we had a sellout at the SCG, we had close to a sellout at NG and also at Gold Coast. So it did tick a lot of boxes. It was really well viewed. But we listen to the fans and we understand. And next year we know the season start is going to be different because we've got a test match at the MCG in the middle of March. So we're working through all the permutations for the fixture for next year. But just hold on to that one.
Now we heard Peter Malinauskas' speech was one for the ages on the Thursday night. He was doing impersonations of Donald Trump on the Wednesday night. How good was it?
Yeah, it was pretty good. He was used some language that we were interested in as well. But he's a great leader. He's he's been rewarded here with a big victory in the election, and I think but he did. He spoke very well, and he's very good at that. He's a great person to deal with.
Andrew, the 2026 season is the first time you've introduced the wildcard round. For this season and forevermore, will the teams that are hosting those matches, 7 playing 10 and 8v9, will they get to play those finals matches, those wildcard matches, in their home state?
Yeah, look, the way we've set it up is that they're finals, so we have the highest ranked team host the final, and that's the plan. Now, I'm not going to be at the AFL forever, so I can't say forevermore. But what I can say is that the wildcards, as they're set up now, it's the highest ranked team.
Not to be sold as a project.
There's been some discussion about that, but not at our end. We're really clear that they're finals and the highest ranked team will host.
And what's been the greatest success story for you in terms of Gather Round?
Oh, look, I think it's you look out here in the crowd, and what I love seeing is all the different clubs represented. I can see Port Adelaide, Richmond, the Kangaroos, the Crows, the Bombers. Great win yesterday as well. The Saints out the back, the Cats. It's so good having everyone together, just celebrating what's so great about footy. And the best thing about footy is the way it brings people together. And I think Gather Round is the perfect example of that.
Mate, we always love catching up with you, Bill, so thanks very much, mate, and enjoy the final day of Gather Round, and hopefully it does stay here in that announcement, not too far away. Jay Allen, your right-hand man, how's he faring?
He's been dominating as usual.
All right, terrific stuff. Let's head back out to Norwood now because Derm and Bill, we're getting to the pointy end of the show, and this is where you guys turn back the clocks in many ways because it's time for the handball.
Thank you, TJ. We're out here on the main street of Norwood, almost at George Street. That's William.
Yes.
And we've got a couple of delicate little flowers.
Yeah, I
Would
know.
you like to introduce them, Bill?
I'll go with one of them. Charlie Dixon's easier to say. Big Charlie lives in the hills here. Lives in a shed, don't you, with your dog?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
How's that going, Charlie?
Yeah, really good, mate.
Yeah.
I don't want for much these days, so just a shed and a dog, mate.
Beautiful. And you fix up cars.
I try my best, until I break something, and then I'd get the professionals to do the rest.
Are you still having a kick? Shut up, Tim.
Yeah.
Sponsor? Have you got a new sponsor? You need a sponsor.
Everyone needs
Big
sponsors.
sponsor.
Yeah.
You want a sponsor? Get on
Absolutely.
board if you're out there for Charlie Dixon Motoring.
Yeah.
And you look after
Riley
Riley
Thilthorpe.
Thilthorpe.
Yeah. Well done
Well
on
done.
the other night. First win of Gather Round. Happy with that? Happy with the way the team's going?
Yeah, well, good to get a win. We were due a few. Lost a few games under a kick to some good sides, but it's good to get the win, and we're excited for next week.
And tell us the truth about your beard and your mum's thoughts on it.
Yes.
Mum actually loved it. Mum was a big driver of it, yeah. But I can't believe no one told me how bad it looked last year. Yeah.
No, it was terrible.
It was a bit out of control.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's gone away for a while, I reckon, Derm.
You've got to use everything at your disposal when you're playing league footy, and you look like you just came out of a cave.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll see. I think it's going to go away for a while, but we'll see.
And the body's fit and healthy?
Yep, feeling good.
All righty. Well, we're coming up with the handball on the other side of the break. Back to you now, TJ.
All right, good work, Derm. Good work, Billy. It is almost game time. We'll do that right after the break. The handball is next on the Sunday Footy Show. There are the boys just handballing, warming up, and they'll be going head-to-head very, very shortly. And what are they playing for? This is the end-of-year prize.
It is, and it's the best prize in the business. So you come on the Sunday Footy Show, and these are the best prizes. The Temper mattress. Have a look at this one. This goes up and it goes down. It goes into a space called 0G.
The astronauts use this,
The
Brad.
astronauts
Artemis
use
2.
this.
Space bed.
Artemis 2. It was on the Artemis 2, the Temper Prolux. And they slept beautifully. That had to be tied down. They floated around
They
a
missed
bit.
the moon.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't have thought so, Tate.
And then you sleep well, Brownie?
You sleep well all night and you sleep well, and then you go out and you play golf unbelievably well, and you hit them straight down the middle with the Callaways, and they are the Quantums. So they're the latest clubs from Callaway. They are brilliant. The Triforce there, have a look at the Quantums. They are beautiful bits of machinery, and you sleep well and you hit them well.
Billy, can you just come back and do the prize read at least for us? I mean, it hasn't been the same since you left, but Billy and Derm are back out there at Norwood. G'day, guys.
Thank you, TJ. The boys are locked and loaded, ready to go. Now just 5 on the right, 5 on the left. They'll alternate turns. This is the money ball. This gives you double points, boys. You can call for this anytime you want. We've had the toss. Riley, you are first man up to the step.
Call them out, Derm.
I'll call them, you count them.
Move the target.
7.
7.
7.
That's 14 in my book.
7.
21.
Just.
21.
10. Money ball.
31.
You'll get. Oh, confident.
One left.
Yeah.
31.
7.
38.
Charlie, you're up. Left or right?
Go right. 38.
Go right, Charlie.
38.
7. Just.
Oh, no.
All 5, mate. You're going to need a big one. 7.
And 19 now.
Oh.
29. 1 to go.
Oh, 7.
36. 38. It's a ring-a-ding-ding-ding-ding.
All right, on the left. You've both got a money ball up the sleeve.
Oh, they're going on the left too.
7.
That'd be 45, eh?
7.
52 now.
7.
59, eh?
7.
Money ball, come on.
Last one,
Come on.
money ball.
66, and this is double.
7.
14.
Oh, can't bend.
That's 70, 80. Is that right, 80?
All right, Charlie.
Just, yeah, 80.
7.
What's that, 43 or something?
7.
50, 50.
7.
57.
Oh, money ball, double points.
67, 80. So a 7 a double would get him the result.
Oh, no.
Oh. Here we go.
Oh, 7. I almost called it no ball.
Is that 81? 81 to Charlie and 80 to Riley.
Well done, boys. Shook hands.
Sweet.
Well done, Charlie. That's a big win for you, and I don't know what you get. You get something really good, though, all right?
Yeah,
so that wraps it up for us here at the Norwood. What's it called?
Food and Wine Festival.
Thank you, William. Get out of
the parade in Norwood, and look at all the supporters. It's going off here. Hey, what about this? Tassie Devils. Oh, good.
All right,
Tassie
now,
Devils.
just Derm and Bill, I know the boys can hear us, and these boys on the panel here have got a couple of questions.
Yeah, Riley, after the game, obviously the weekend off, but we had Isaac Rankin playing the guitar in one of the bars in the city, didn't we?
Yes, he was electric. Played 3 songs for us for the Ricks event. He's very talented. It's a bit annoying how talented he is, but yeah, he was unbelievable.
And he was back.
He's very good.
He was back in good form on the weekend too. Found a bit of form, kicked a couple of goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see him having fun again. Big smile on his face, and yeah, he's pretty up and about this week, so hopefully he can carry it on for the rest of the season.
And Charlie, for you, what's keeping you busy in life these days?
Just my car stuff at the moment, with driving with Dixon and playing a bit of footy for the Loberville Football Club up in the hills. And yeah, so that's about it, mate.
How you going up in the hills? Who are you playing for, and how many have you kicked?
I haven't started. I played in the Showdown last night, so I missed our first game. We lost by 8 points, so it's probably my fault. But no, yeah, I played all ruck last year for them, and so hopefully I can stay forward a little bit more and kick a few goals.
How many times do you get suspended?
Not once.
Oh,
have a go.
Obviously not.
All right, good on you, fellas. It's been fantastic, Charlie, all the boys out there, and Derm and Billy. So we've had a terrific time here. Thank you to the crowd at Norwood. Thank you to everyone who've come here on the banks of the River Torrens. And, of course, our little Sharon football over there. To the teams competing today, enjoy the rest of your gather round, and hopefully we'll be back here again next year. What are you up to for the rest of the day?
I'm going to call Geelong and the West Coast Eagles, so on air in about 30 minutes. So a quick zip over there.
And your chauffeur's coming?
It's ready to go, so we should have some room in the boot for you, TJ, so later on. Hurry up.
All right, and you?
I'll give you a lift to the airport. Don't go with those. I'll chauffeur you, TJ. It's all right.
And I'm in the chauffeur with Llordo. TJ?
I'm just trying to pad it out as much as I can because he wants to get to the football, so Joey Montagna doesn't call the first. Can't have that happening. All right, good on you, everyone. We'll see you again next week. Just as the rain begins to fall, let's get out of here.